Hi everyone, today's lesson is on drawing cumulative frequency curves. You should have two sheets for this to do the examples with me. So here's the first one and the second one is here with space for a box plot. If you're not able to print them, what you can do is pause the video and sketch out the axes and the tables, so then you can fill them in with us as I do it. Okay, so it says here the table shows information about the number of hours that 120 children used a computer last week. Complete the cumulative frequency table and draw the cumulative frequency curve. So often in exam questions, sometimes they do give you the two tables, which is useful. So you can see in each part of the table you've got a class width. So for example, this one is anyone who spent more than 0 hours and less than or equal to 2 hours on the computer last week, and there was 10 students who did that. And then it carries on, so the next part would be anyone who spent more than 2 hours or less than or equal to 4, spent 15 hours. Sorry, that was 15 students, and then etc. And then if you notice in the next part of the table, all of these class widths start with 0 compared to here where they start with different values. So the first one is done for us because that is exactly the same as that one. But this one here is 0 to 4 hours rather than 2 to 4. So what we have to do is add up everyone who is in the 0 to 2 category and everyone who is in the 2 to 4 category. So 10 add 15 is 25. Then the next part is 0 to 6. So now this becomes these three categories all added together. So what you're effectively doing is kind of making a running total down here for the cumulative frequency. Okay, so then we'd have to do 10, 15 add 30, or we could just take the 25 that we previously added and add on 30 more. Now we're doing 0 to 8, so we need to add on 35 as well, so that would be 90. Then all the way up to 10, we need to add on 25. And then finally we've got 5 for the 10 to 12, so if we added that on, would be 120. Okay, so now we need to draw what this will look like as a cumulative frequency curve. And you need to remember that it is a curve, that we're not joining up points dot to dot. Okay, and the important thing is that we are interested in the second values of the class widths for our plotting, and that's really important. So the smallest amount of hours anybody could have taken is 0, so we do want a point at 0 hours here and 0 frequency. And then we want to plot that from 0 to 2 there was 10 people. So if I go across to 2, there was 10 people, sorry. If you go across 2 hours, we want to go to 10, which would be here. And then 0 to 4 was 25, so now for 4 we need to go up to 25. Now this would be 30, so 25 will be right in the middle of that. We've got 6 and 55. So again, 50 would be here, 55 there. 8 and 90. 10 and 115. So 110, so 115 is in the middle. And then 12 and 120 to end there. Now, normally I would say do this with a pencil, but so that you can see it on the screen, I'm going to do it with a pen, because the next part is the tricky part where you need to draw in a curve connecting all of those points. Okay, so just take your time, try and make sure you go through all of those points and make it a curve, not like a straight line dot to dot, and that is what it should look like. Okay, now recently we've been doing box plots, so I'm going to show you how you can also link cumulative frequency curves to your box plots. So this is the second sheet now, and again, if you need to, you can pause the video and then sketch this out if you can't print out the sheets. And this time we've got the cumulative frequency graph, which is drawn for us, and it told us that there were 200 students who took a test, and here is the information about all of their marks. Okay, so we can see 200 is the maximum value here, and if we have a look, the maximum mark was 60. So if you remember back to box plots, we need a lowest value, we need a highest value, and those become like the whiskers at the end of the box plot, and then we need the median value, and then the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So thinking about those things, I can straight away see that, like I said earlier, the highest mark was 60 that somebody got, and the lowest mark was 10. So I can mark those on straight away. So I can put a little line at 10 and a little line at 60. Now let's focus on the median. Okay, if there were 200 people who took this test, and if we put them all in order, so with their lowest score to the highest score, imagine all those people kind of lined up in a big line, the median is going to be the middle person's score. So if there was 200 people, the middle of that would be 100, which will be right in the middle of 80 and 120. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line across from 120 until I meet the curve. And then I'm going to then go directly down. And I can see that when I do that, I get a mark which is 35, 36, 37.5 is where I've got it to. So I'm going to go across to here now and put a mark on 37.5. And I make this part bigger because it's for our box. And then this is splitting the data into halves for the median, and then if you remember what we did in class, we then looked at finding the quartiles by splitting the median and the highest value, and then the lower quartile by splitting these two values. So we've got 100 to 200, well the middle of that will be 150. Now because of the scale, this here would be 140, right in the middle of there, so we need to go in the middle of that again, so 2.5 squares up. Okay, and then that, for me, that goes down to 42.5. So go over here to 42.5. And then do the same for the lower quartile, so we are in between 100 and 0, so that would be 50. And again, because of the scale, this part here would be 60, so 50 would be in the middle of there. So 1, 2, 2.5, up. Go all the way across until you meet the line. Gives me 29.5. So 29.5 is here. And then you just want to join it all up, so you've got your box here, and then join it with the minimum and maximum value as well. Okay, so that's how you can then draw the box plot from your cumulative frequency curve. So what I want you to do now, to practice a little bit more, is I've put these on Show My Homework and in the email. These are from Coolbit Maths. They're really good. So the exam style questions, you can print it out like a little booklet, and it has a QR code on the front where you can scan to watch some more videos if you need a little bit of help with that. And then inside the booklet, it's got lots of questions for you to practice. Okay. If you aren't able to print that out though, what you could do is you could go on to MathsWatch and you could look up cumulative frequency and you could practice some on there. Okay.